On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. I am extremely proud of us. I've been a little frustrated of late, and I will say that I think, without a doubt, we are kicking ass. I am so proud of you guys, for sure. Wouldn't be happening without you guys. I've got, I think, 3 solid examples of how we're winning. In the big picture, I do have a pretty solid take on something that I think I want you guys to kind of listen to me on, hear me out, and see what you think. I think Trump is doing some major 5D action with the elections. We're going to talk about that. Also, Zelensky and Ukraine. We got some weird happenings around there, too. And Trump's doing some big moves when it comes to Europe. We got a lot to talk about. Great show, too. And I'm going to start, first off, with just some incredible stuff. This whole thing with the memes, we talked about Nicki Minaj. By the way, I'm definitely doing Nicki Minaj next week. She is inspiring. I'm not going to just do a whole show on Nicki Minaj, but I will definitely play a number of her songs, and then we'll find some other stuff to mix in with it. It's going to have a theme to it, so it's not just going to be her kind of music, maybe. I don't know. I've got a little bit of an idea. I'm going to think about it over the weekend, but I'm looking forward to doing that show. I am so stoked that people like her have the courage to stand up. First off, she stood up for Christians. That's where this whole thing started, the Nigeria thing. Nobody else in Hollywood was talking about it. She was. And now, she's attacking Newsom. She's all on board with J.D. Vance. And she's enjoying the fun that people are having at J.D.'s expense, which J.D.'s kind of, like she said, leaning into. I shared that quote yesterday. It's just gotten better. We're going to start with a couple of these. Check this out. This is so freaking cool. Again, just funny as hell. Funny as hell. That's not the only one. It gets better. It gets even better. I love this one. This is awesome. Check this out.
It's Miss Moscato, it's Frizz in the bottle, it's Nicki full throttle, it's swimming in the grotto, we winning in the lotto, we dipping in the pot of blue flow. Getting so good, it's dripping on wood, get a ride engine that could go. Batman robbing it, bang bang cocking it, Queen Nicki dominant, prominent. It's me G to the A, to the N to the G, B to the A, to the N to the G. It's Miss Moscato, it's Frizz in the.
That is ridiculous. That is so ridiculous. That is beyond good. I love it. This is, we're doing it, guys. Nicki Minaj posted this. Oh, Gabby Poo, it only gets worse from here for you, buddy. It is the end of the road for you, my love. Get on the nearest jet ski and let that beautiful hair blow in the wind. It will make you happier than this race that you will not win. Enjoy life and peace. Good for her. Digging on Nicki. And, of course, Nicki Minaj posted this as well. The Vance is greater than the Gavnots. Oh, she's going to probably write a song about this. You watch. This is fantastic. All right, off that subject, but interesting nonetheless. A bus-sized asteroid is going to be coming very close to Earth. In fact, there's another one that's coming reasonably close, I think, by the end of the next week or something. Something to that effect, within a week. That one's going to be about 600,000 miles away, which I feel like is close to where the moon is, distance-wise. But this other one's going to be within 195,000 miles, which is between us and the moon. My numbers are sort of scrunchy in my brain right now, but needless to say, it is going to be a big deal. I'm telling you, a whole bunch of people are going to play this off the 3i Atlas thing, which, I mean, just this thing would have it to be doing rocket speed to get from 3i Atlas, where they said it unleashed its probes, to here already. And I also love how they keep saying that it's racing towards the Earth, which it's not. It's leaving away from the solar system. It's actually leaving. We're turning into it as far as our position on the sun, and it's going to be the closest point that we have with them, I think, coming up here in 5 days or something. It's not that we're racing towards it. Anyways, whatever. This is one of the things there's plenty of stuff that I have issues with, but this one is being utilized by people intentionally to mislead. That's all I can say. What it is exactly, I got my hunches, but what it's not is pretty much what everyone's pushing right now. Huge historic floods happening in Washington State. We've got a little bit of video of this. I've got two, actually, but this one is, we'll start here.
We take a look at the severe weather in the Pacific Northwest. Days of torrential rain have caused unprecedented floods in Washington State.
Families have been stranded on roofs, bridges have been washed over, and at least 2 homes have been ripped right from their foundations.
It must have been around 1 a.m. maybe. The river reached the shore, and so our backyard is we kind of have a moat around our building. We have a moat or a pond in our backyard.
The video provided by the Coast Guard showed rescuers yesterday airlifting 2 people stranded in a submerged house.
In Snohomish, rescue crews used inflatable boats to evacuate residents from flooded streets.
Washington is under a state of emergency, and evacuation orders are in place for tens of thousands of residents.
The rain prompted road closures and the suspension of Amtrak trains between Seattle and Vancouver. A powerful atmospheric river is responsible for what Governor Bob Ferguson called a historic situation.
That brings me joy to know that they mispronounced a word in here. And I only know it because I sort of have some intimate knowledge of the Washington area, sort of more in the Seattle area. But it's Snohomish, not Snohomish, but yeah, Snohomish. A bunch of crazy North America or Native American words up there, all over the place. Snoqualmie. I got a bunch of those. In fact, I think that's the next story is in that general area, Snoqualmie, which had we saw the video in there, but I heard elk literally coming across this soccer field. I almost called it the football field. That would have pissed some people off. But yeah, and cool. I like the little background noises. Reminds me of some hold music I got the other day. I was actually calling into the wellness company to take care of my bit of a problem, getting my order situated. By the way, I got the meats. Those are fantastic. And they come frozen, like they got dry ice on them. Oh, it's incredible. Incredible. Like, I haven't tried the steaks yet. I'm going to have to pull them out like a day and a half early. They're friggin' rock hard. But yeah, it's going to be good. I'll let you guys know. Well, we're going to do that this weekend. Anyway, yeah. So they're walking, trying to obviously get through the crazy amount of weather they've had. They're of course probably going to try to blame this on the global warming and stuff, but I think it's the distraction from what's actually happening, which is we're having issues with our magnetic field. The sun's become a little more active. We're going into a very unique part of the solar system. Well, galactic spiral, part of the galaxy where we're at. Whatever. I don't know the easy way to say that, and likely the return of friends that have been written about in the Bible. We got a lot of good things to look forward to, guys. It's going to be exciting time. Exciting time. We got to get a few things under order, get our house in order, if you will, and then we get to meet our friends. Should be good times. Donald Trump posted this for years. Democrats ignored violent and vicious crime of all shapes, sizes, colors, and types. Violent criminals who should have been locked up were allowed to attack again. Democrats were also far too happy to let in the worst from the worst countries so they could rip off American taxpayers. Democrats only think there is one crime, not voting for them. Instead of protecting Americans and their tax dollars, Democrats chose instead to prosecute anyone they find that wanted safe and secure elections. Democrats have been relentless in their targeting of Tina Peters, a patriot who simply wanted to make sure that our elections were fair and honest. Tina is sitting in a Colorado prison for the crime of demanding honest elections. Today, I am granting Tina a full pardon for her attempt to expose voter fraud in the rigged 2020 presidential election. Now, they're still not going to let her out because it's a state crime they're holding her on, but this is a big step and probably likely towards what we're going to then, because he's calling out the fact that she's got election information. Again, this is part of the 5D move. This is part of what we're doing where I think we're actually going to trick them. It's coming up where we'll talk more about it. But he did at least pardon Tina Peters. It's a big, huge step. A lot of people have been wanting that to happen for sure. We've got a Utah judge is ruling cameras will be allowed in the courtroom for alleged Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson. Now, this is another one of the areas where I'm very proud of you guys. There is a lot of people that are very pissed off at Candace Owens. Now, one of them, I heard the story, and I'm not going to play it because it was really long, and he started to go like, I don't know, he started to drift from the point, I felt like. But he's talking about that Candace Owens, all this stuff happened recently when she married this gentleman from apparently England who's tied into some of these interesting families. And then all of a sudden, now Candace Owens is pushing conspiracy theories and everything else under the sun. People are calling her out on it. She is getting, she's getting the treatment she deserves. And frankly, this is one of my favorite memes that's been pushed out with her. It's actually, I don't know if you can call it a meme, pictures. It's a AI-generated picture of her and the Dave Chappelle crackhead character that Chappelle plays. They morphed her face on it. That was very funny. So I'm very proud of people kind of seeing the light on this one. I'm just one of those moments where you're like, okay, we're maybe going to make it. We're maybe going to make it. Mike Lindell did finally announce his campaign for Minnesota governor. I kind of wanted to, I got a little ahead of it, but not too much. I'm sure I didn't steal any of his thunder. But yes, he's out there doing that. And I mean, considering he's running against Waltz. Now, who else he's running against, I don't know. And what kind of money he needs, I don't know. But he is definitely a big figure in Minnesota. A lot of people know him there, love him there, hate him there. He's a polarizing figure. But I think there might be enough people that feel the pain in Minnesota to finally be ready to do something different. Or hopefully, again, if we get our elections under control, which again, this is all a trick. We're trying to lull them into thinking they've got this. We're trying to lull them into thinking they can keep dragging their feet. We're trying to lull them into this sense of they're winning and they can actually do this. And they're thinking in their heads the math works. But it doesn't. OTFspecial.com. If you are somebody that's a little overweight, somebody that does try to do fasting for periods of the day, you try to keep yourself in ketosis for a little while longer, this is a product that's going to help you. The Unimate, I actually found out that is how you pronounce it. It is Unimate. They just went with Unimate for whatever reason. Maybe it's the way the commercial got recorded, but it is called Unimate. Yes! Chalk one up for Dan and you guys. Unimate, though. And it actually, I took it this morning. I love it. I love taking it. And there are times where I forget to, I'll be honest. And it's just the way my schedule works. But before I went to the gym, I did, it was probably about 8 ounces, 10 ounces of water. Stirred in one of them packs. Drank it, guzzled it. Oh, man, so good. And again, energy. Energy. I'm still not hungry, and it's been a few hours. And normally it's about the time where that would start to creep in, start hearing gurgles going on and noises down there. It's not happening. So it helps with those cravings. And then you've also got balance, which is something you work in. If you're diabetic in any way, shape, or form, people are seeing their A1C numbers coming down significantly because it's helping. There's like a fiber mesh and some chemistry happening in there. And it actually helps you feel fuller. You're still eating, just not as much because you fill up quicker because some of that's already happened with the balance. And it's also providing some of the nourishment you need to help you stop being insulin resistant. And this is what 90 to 95% of us are experiencing. Some of us may not be having as many problems with it just because of our diet, while many of us are in some sort of pre-diabetes, diabetes, or even further into it, right? So even if you're taking insulin and all that stuff, no matter what, this is one of those things where people, because a lot of you guys are monitoring your blood, this is one of those things that while you start, like within your first day or two, first day really, you're already going to start to see results. Now, the weight it comes off slowly like it should. And your A1C numbers, well, we'll see. We're going to get confirmation. But we've heard from others. But I've got a good friend out there, Nana, who's going to be getting hers tested in a little over a month. And we know it's going to be down. She's been looking at her daily blood levels, and they're down where the doctor says they should be. She's been able to keep them there. Just using the Unimate, she does 1 of those a day and then 2 of the balance a day. I do 2 Unimates a day and 1 balance. And it's the difference. And again, it's helping our bodies get over the insulin resistance. I don't want to waste a lot of time trying to explain it. I talk about it a lot, and I will talk about it more, trust me. But I'm, for the sake of time. We've got a quick video, minute long. You guys have seen it before, hopefully. And this is a reason why you want to check out this product. This product is helping people that have all sorts of issues: snacking, overeating, cravings, weight control, fatty liver, diabetes, gut health, cholesterol, triglycerides, fatigue, depression, systemic inflammation, metabolic syndrome, and PCOS-ED. Does actually, believe it or not. Believe it or not, insulin resistance is being tied to even ED. Gentlemen, come on, don't let that happen. You want to try out this product? You want to go to otfspecial.com. That's otfspecial.com. Check out this video.
If you're constantly battling low energy, cravings, weight control, watching your health slip away, listen up. There's a simple daily protocol they don't want you to know about that's helping people ditch their meds and reclaim their health. Up to 88% of Americans potentially suffer from some degree of insulin resistance. The Feel Great protocol is a simple 2-step daily system designed to help your body work with you, not against you. Step 1. Unimate, a powerful yerba mate extract clinically shown to boost mood, increase mental clarity, and support fat burning. Step 2. A patented fiber matrix called Balance. Taken before meals, it helps regulate blood sugar, curb cravings, and support healthy insulin response. That's it. No crazy diets, no meds, just science-backed support your body actually understands. Feel Great is perfect for you if you have low energy, weight control, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, poor sleep, diabetes, snacking, sugar cravings, gut health, systemic inflammation. This isn't a trend, it's a transformation. Start today to reclaim your health with the Feel Great protocol.
otfspecial.com. otfspecial.com. Start that. Begin that transformation. All you're doing is putting powder in water. It's awesome. You need to drink more water anyways, and you're going to notice a significant difference in all the right places. otfspecial.com. You guys are going to love it. Stuff's so good. So good. All right, we got the trick of the trade, if you will. So Indiana Senate, they've blocked Trump on this redistricting plan. Now, this was going to piss some people off, still probably is. And I get it. Indiana had the chance to actually tip the scales in the favor of the Republican Party. They chose not to do it within the state themselves. We're also going to find some other places where we're not getting the support we need. This is a big part of what's meant to happen. Tricking people into a sense of, like, we can wait out Trump. We can keep this from happening. The deep state thuggery, we're seeing who they are. Now, again, large amount of Congress we can't trust at all. At all. Zero trust. At all. And we're experiencing that. And there is this even weird safety on our side. We're like, well, we got all the R's. All the R's are here. Now, how many of the R's are worthless? Right? This is all part of the plan. They think they've got us. What they don't understand is what's coming when it comes to voter rolls and elections. Both of these things will be addressed. We've got the proof. It's going to come out then. It's going to be an executive order, and the courts won't be able to fight it because the proof's going to be there. It will happen exactly at the right time. And a lot of these people are being teased or tricked into exposing themselves. Which states are showing that they don't really care about winning, or they don't really care about helping the bigger picture when they could. Especially Indiana being where they are in the big picture. It's a beautiful thing. Now, again, don't believe me just outright. You'll see in time, but this is what they're doing. They're kicking these guys' ass all over the place, and it's pretty freaking awesome. This is long. I'll probably kick it up a little on the speed, but I guess I won't be able to. Well, let's do it this way, and then I can. This is just ridiculous. And this rep, Benny Thompson, he's generally a jackass, and so he's once again, in his jackassery ways, is demonstrating why he's horrible. And again, even people on their side of the fence are seeing how horrible his comments are. This is destroying them. This is creating Nicki Minaj's, if you will. Thank God she's, it's so awesome. One, I kind of like her music a little bit, and so I'm just happy she's one of the good ones. That's all I got to say. Super happy, in fact. All that said, here's Benny Thompson being a tard.
Madam Secretary, you and the gentleman from NCTC reference the unfortunate accident that occurred with the National Guardsman being killed.
You think that was an unfortunate accident?
I mean,
It was a terrorist
no, wait. Look, I'll get it straight. Then you can.
He shot our
respond.
National Guardsman in the head.
Look, Mr. Chairman, will you direct the witness to allow me to ask my question? It was an unfortunate situation, but you blamed it solely on Joe Biden. I want you to know who approved the asylum application for this same person.
Mr. Thompson, this individual that came into the country.
No, I want to know who approved.
Congressman Thompson, I want you to understand. When this individual came into the country, he came under
I'm not going to let you.
evacuation of Afghanistan under Operation Allies Welcome, was thoroughly vetted by the Biden administration at that point in time, allowed into our country, and then was never followed up. I want to remind everybody in Congress.
Reclaim my time.
We follow the law, and every asylum is supposed to have a check-in every single year, and the Biden administration failed to do that. They vetted this individual, allowed them into our country, and did not do due
Witness will allow the gentleman to ask his question.
Yes or no? Who approved the asylum claim?
The application on the asylum was thoroughly filled out by information that was gathered by the Biden administration.
So the Biden administration approved the asylum.
The asylum application was put into place under the rules established by the Biden administration.
Reclaiming my time. I don't want to file perjury charges against you, but I'm of the opinion that the Trump administration, DHS, your DHS, approved the asylum application.
The asylum application moved forward under all of the information and vetting processes that were put in place under the Biden administration, which is when vetting happened. And that's what President Trump has changed. Under President Trump's administration.
Reclaim my time again.
When
it's obvious you don't want to answer the question. Mr. Kent, do you want a shot at it?
The individual was vetted to serve as a soldier in Afghanistan, and that vetting standard was used by the Biden administration as a ruse to bring him here. Had we followed the standard operating procedures for special immigrant visas, that individual and none of the Allies Welcome people would have come to America. That's on Joe Biden.
Gentlemen's time has expired.
That was the answer.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. That was a murder that took place in D.C. It was not an unfortunate incident. And those comments are effing disrespectful.
Who is it?
I expect better from the
It's not a valid point of order. I now recognize the gentleman from Texas, the former chair.
Ooh, effing. Man, can you imagine how many daggums we would have gotten if it was, what was it,
Madam Secretary, you and
he would have daggummed us to death on that. That would have been awesome. Here's another example of this guy. I mean, seriously, I'm gonna feel bad saying this. He looks weird. Has he been burned or something at one point of his life? And he's, like a fire victim, and so he's got fake hair and fake eyebrows, or because his skin looks weird, or is he just, I don't know, he's got a funky accent, so maybe this is just what they look like in his family. I'm curious, folks. I'm just asking. I wouldn't even say for a friend. It's for me, I'll be honest, but I'll probably tell some friends. But let me get back on track.
Madam Secretary, your incompetence and your inability to truthfully carry out your duties of Secretary of Homeland Security. If you're not fired, will you resign?
Sir, I will consider your asking me to resign as an endorsement of my work. Thank you very much.
It's the motherfucking Eagle Double G. Snoop Dogg.
Damn, Nicki Minaj getting some Snoop, Snoop double O to the, I don't know how he does it, double O to the G, dog. I don't know. I'm not cool enough. I watch The Voice with the girlfriend. That's about as close as I get to that. That chicken commercial he does is very strange. The sauce. Have you guys seen that commercial? It is a weird ass commercial. I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't know. Trump wants Mark Walker, other nominees confirmed ASAP. It's like, Senate, get your butt going. Also, he wants to get rid of the filibuster, which is not going to probably happen per John Thune.
But this is another moment where Republicans are willing to say no.
Yeah.
They're willing to look beyond President Trump. And again, it also shows this president's desperation to hold on to the House, because he knows that if Democrats do take control, not only would whatever remains of his agenda be out the window, but suddenly they'd have the power of the subpoena, and they could investigate him, his administration, his family.
Yeah, and he might get impeached again.
So you don't anticipate changing it?
I don't think it's going to change. It's been in place for a long time, and like I said, there are Republicans on the Judiciary Committee and off the Judiciary Committee, for that matter, who support this and support it strongly.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.
I don't know what he threw at him, but it looked hard. Yeah, exactly. So, again, much like kind of what's happening with Candace Owens, maybe Tucker Carlson, maybe. Certainly, I'm still pissed at 107, so probably, in my opinion, right now, anyways, this is where I'm at. I'm just sharing where I'm at. You don't have to. You can believe whatever you want, okay? We're going to disagree on things sometimes. That's fun, though. Then we have discussions and we can talk about it. Just that's all we're doing. But we've got a number of people that, well, all the senators minus possibly two. Someone reminded me of Blackburn, so I was like, oh, good call. And I think Ron Johnson. That's it. I had someone fight with me and say, well, Jim Jordan. I'm like, well, he's not in the Senate. That's the problem. They're like, you sure? I'm like, actually, I am. Oddly. Yeah. So, there's two. There's 98 shitheads. Okay. 60 shitheads. And hopefully some decent people. And then the House, Jesus, I don't know. Jesus, take the wheel. Right? Don't know. Anyone that's been in there longer than 4 years, probably corrupt. This is all part of what we have to go through. If we can get a fair vote, if we can get fair elections, my guess is even the Democrats that might get voted in are probably good people in some way, shape, or form. Not all Democrats are bad. Not all Republicans are good. Just is what it is. Just, like not all. I don't know. I don't want to get too, that's going to go off into the whoop. Don't need to. Senate failed to advance the GOP healthcare plans after Collins, Murkowski, Hawley, and Sullivan break ranks. I talked about this yesterday. Just wanted to make sure I said it again. Again, 98 of the senators suck. Here's 4 of them that suck really, really, really bad. Collins, Hawley, Murkowski, Sullivan. Sullivan and Murkowski, yes, are both from Alaska. Alaska, you guys got to get your shit fixed. I know they got a lot of unions up there because everything up there is a union job, probably. Collins, Maine, and Hawley's Missouri, I think it is. Just because I talked about him yesterday and they had the letters next to him. Howley's the one that, he's a nice guy. He talks well. Every once in a while he shows up in the right place, but frequently his votes suck. So that's what it's going to come down to is their actions, right? And his votes, he was one of 4 specifically that was on the side of the insurance companies. Pure and simple. Howley's in bed with the deep state. We knew Collins, Murkowski, and Sullivan I didn't know. That's a shame. I think Alaskans are like, Murkowski we knew for sure, right? That wasn't a surprise. But Sullivan, dadgummit. And again, these guys are all bought and paid for. Maybe we can clean that up and they can stop taking money and make a big, public statement about it. That would be cool in my mind, right? That's one way to come clean and try to distance yourself from it. Otherwise, not voting or voting no, that's not a good idea. Blockbuster's lawsuit accuses medical giants of Blockbuster, like a giant lawsuit. It made me think of the video company. I don't know how many of you guys went there. I did. The first time I read it, I'm like, Blockbuster? Are they even still alive? But it's a giant lawsuit. Accuses medical giants of promoting mutilating gender treatments on kids in a lucrative alleged nationwide scheme. First off, Florida Attorney General, which is a new Florida Attorney General because the old Florida Attorney General is the nation's Attorney General or whatever, right? Like Pam Bondi, obviously, used to be Florida's Attorney General. Look at that, how that works out. Well, she's actually the head of the whatever, I don't know, whatever her title is now. AG, I think, right? Yeah, whatever. She is now in charge of the country. This guy, still doing awesome stuff. Texas, the only other state that actually does good stuff, and that guy's running for governor, I think. So that's going to suck a little. But Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer has filed a lawsuit against the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. It's like, okay, I didn't feel like a victory when I read that, like WPATH, okay. But Endocrine Society, ooh, okay, that's interesting. And then the American Academy of Pediatrics. That's huge because they're the ones that the CCP, when they changed their guidance, everybody, all these school systems and stuff are like, we're going to go with the American Academy of Pediatrics. All right. So we're going to take them down. We're going to show the world how corrupt they are. And this is the thing that they hate about Kennedy. And they tried to impeach him, but nobody took the vote up. But he's actually saying nobody's allowed on boards that's getting paid for by the company that you're allowing in or not allowing in. You're not allowed to be paid for by them. So pharmacy companies was a big part of, no. If you're getting paid money by the pharmacy companies, no, you're not allowed on the board. Can't be on the board of the FDA. Can't be on the board of whatever the CDC boards they got. You can't be on the vaccine board. No. Not if you're getting paid by the vaccine companies, no. And the Dems are like, well, that's ridiculous. We should listen to trusted science. You mean the science paid for it? I mean, you guys are just, like, we all remember cigarettes. The doctors with cigarettes in their mouths while they're treating children. Well, they're good for you. Says who? Well, these studies. Who are those paid for by? Cigarette companies. Oh. Huh. I'm sure they're honest. Because, of course, putting smoke in your mouth and body... Hey, I smoked for 21 years, so don't get pissed at me. Okay? It's actually my favorite thing to do. Like, every once in a while, I go to the bar on the weekends with my friends, like, hang out, and there's this guy that has a vape, and it's got the nicotine in it, and I get all fucked up from it. It's like, oh, I forgot how powerful nicotine is, but it doesn't make me want to smoke. It's the beautiful thing. And I don't want to buy a vape. I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to be sitting here in my house vaping. Oh, it's cool. For once in my life, I'm able to enjoy nicotine without wanting to go buy a pack of cigarettes. It makes me very happy. But yeah, it's weird how it hits you. It's like, damn, forgot how much, like you haven't had a cigarette for a while, and that first one, and just, man, gives you that total buzz. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. They're going after these guys for all the, and they're going after them for RICO charges too, by the way. For this decades-long cover-up, they're promoting this gender-affirming care, just all the stuff that's going into it. This is a big case. I don't know how the hell they're going to pull it off, but we'll see. It's Daily Mail reporting it, so, trust it a little. Former President Joe Biden's record-setting waves of mass immigration to the United States sent home prices through the roof, is what everybody's starting to realize. One of the things we're noticing in some of the places where larger numbers of people have actually self-migrated or self-removed themselves, whatever, the housing prices are actually coming down. Less demand, the supply is not a problem now. And so that's, again, supply and demand. It just seems to work. It's actually, they're like, that's just a theory. It's like, it seems to work. They mess with some of the stuff artificially, but it just is messing with the stuff artificially, and it causes things to change. And seems to, anyways. 2.5 million illegal immigrants have deported under Trump already. Right? Not even a year yet. Not even a year yet. 2.5 million. Trump administration disqualified 9,500 truck drivers for failing English proficiency tests. I've actually got Duffy talking about this coming up here at the 7:10 thing here. We're going to listen to about 7:10, but it's sped up a little bit. So 6+ minutes. But it's really good. And what he's talking about, he's beaten up on New York, beaten up on California, and for the right reasons. I also want to throw in there for you guys to consider. Most of the time, whenever a driver's license is given by the DMV of either of those states, they are instantly registered to vote. Instantly registered to vote. And this is a way of giving documentation to people that don't deserve documentation. And you'll find there was 0 checks. Oh, it's really bad. So there's a legal approach to how they solve it. He's going to talk to us about that. But so far, 9,500 people that failed the proficiency of English have been kicked out. Pritzker signs a law limiting federal immigration enforcement in Illinois. They can't hit them up in courthouses or hospitals. I don't know how those laws work. Maybe they would, because those are two places that are considered state ground, but I would still assume federal sovereignty would trump any of that. I'm guessing at some point they're going to go into a courthouse, but they right now they get fought so hard by the judges. And we don't have any remedy of that yet, which I don't know if that comes from the Supreme Court or who, just eventually, like, like starts caning these judges. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. Didn't say anything other than a smacking on the bum. All right, 710. What's 710? 710's this.
You're not just risking the lives of your citizens, you're risking the life of every citizen on American roadways if there's an unlawfully issued California commercial driver's license, because these truckers drive around the country. And so with California, about 25% of their non-domiciled commercial driver's licenses, these are driver's licenses that have been issued to foreigners, 25% were issued unlawfully. We were able to push California to revoke 17,000 of those illegally or unlawfully issued driver's licenses. So thank you to California for doing that. Another concern that we have with California is that many of the drivers are non-proficient in the English language. By the way, the rules I'm talking about are not rules that Derek and I created or President Trump created in this administration. The rules that we're talking about are rules that go back decades. These rules were here under Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg. It's just they didn't enforce the rules. But in regard to English proficiency, California is the only state that has refused to enforce our laws where a commercial driver speaks English, can understand English. That's important on the safety front, number one, because if there is a crash, you have to be able to communicate with law enforcement. What's on your rig? Where are you going? There's basic information that law enforcement needs or first responders need when there's crashes on American roadways. But they also have to understand American roadway signs. So it's a safety issue that many administrations have flagged, and we want to make sure that if you're going to operate a big rig, you operate it and you understand the English language. Here's the concern that we have, is that many of these operators, and many of the press has covered this, they don't speak English. They can't understand English. So it begs the question, how did they get a commercial driver's license? How did they get through the system if they don't understand the language? And that's prompted us to look at the commercial driver's license mills, the CDL mills. Businesses that stand up and they're pushing drivers through, in air quotes, their training program, which is no training program at all, and allowing them to go to the state DMVs and get a driver's license. This is incredibly risky because, one, not only do they not speak the language, but we're seeing that they're not well trained. And if we're going to have drivers on American roadways, they need to be the best trained, the best skills, because if operated incorrectly or inappropriately, these are lethal weapons on American roadways. And especially at a time as America's about to travel. We think about this every single day, but America's about to hit the road for this Christmas season. They're thinking about it. And so in California, again, 25% of their driver's licenses were issued illegally. 17,000 were pulled, and we are grateful for that. But it brings me to the reason we're here today. As we've done this nationwide audit, we found the worst offender, which is the state of New York. 53% of New York's non-domiciled CDLs were issued unlawfully or illegally. Now, what New York does is, if an applicant comes in and they have a work authorization for 30 days, 60 days, 1 year, New York automatically issues them an 8-year commercial driver's license. That's contrary to the law. That's one offense. But we also found that New York many times won't even verify whether they have a work authorization, they have a visa, or they're in the country legally. So they're just giving 8-year commercial driver's licenses to people who are coming through their DMV and sending them out on American roadways. And again, they're endangering the lives of American families. I don't like that I have to do this, but the law requires me to do this. I'm going to give New York 30 days, because that's what the law requires, to come into compliance with the rules that have been long-standing at the Department of Transportation. If they come into compliance, we're going to work with them. If New York refuses to come into compliance, because Kathy Hochul, for some reason, believes that we should have unqualified truck drivers on American roadways, we are going to pull tens of millions of dollars as phase one for the state of New York. We don't want that to be the case. We don't want to have conflict with New York or California or Minnesota. That's not the mission here. The mission is to get compliance, to make sure we have safe commercial drivers on American roadways and Americans are safe. That is the mission. But if we have state governors who are unwilling to cooperate and collaborate and make sure that Americans are safe, we will use every single tool at our disposal to make sure they do come into compliance. And if they don't, the federal taxpayer, the American taxpayer, should not be funding these states. So we will pull every dollar possible from every single state that's unwilling to work with this administration and these long-standing rules to make sure that when American and a family gets in a car, they shouldn't be worried that they have an unqualified foreigner operating an 80,000-pound big rig that could endanger their lives, by the way, or an unqualified driver operating a motor coach. Again, if you get on a bus, you're going to travel across the country, you'd expect that that driver has been well-trained and they're well-qualified to operate that vehicle. We've seen in recent news stories that that's not the case, and when bad drivers that aren't qualified from other countries drive a bus, many people get hurt and some people die. We find that to be unacceptable, and again, we will use every tool at our disposal to make sure that this ends. With that, I do want
Motor coach? This shit's a motor. I mean, I know what a motor coach is, don't get me wrong, but what is that like the word pop? Like in some places they call it pop, and people are like, pop, you want a pop? The hell is that? A soda? A pop? Oh. Is that what, a motor coach? Don't we call them cars nowadays? Vehicles? Motor coach? Feels like that's such a after the horse and buggy coach days. Whatever. I love the guy, whatever. I can't help myself. I cannot, and I will not. I'm not going to play this dude, but because it's 3 minutes of him talking, I'm giving his little speech, and I'm certainly not going to amplify that. But what I am going to amplify is the fact that it says his name and his rank now, or his army. I don't know if he's literally active duty or just wearing this like he used to be, and he's trying to make noise. That's one thing I don't know. But if this is a U.S. Army soldier calling for people to overthrow the Trump administration, and he's literally, these names mean something that matters, oh, this dude's toast. He's gone. He's immediately gone. So, whatever. Hopefully, Searcy, if that's real, I doubt that. But it's kind of a weird-looking uniform, too. But I don't know. Maybe this is like some sort of weird jacket, that you wear when you're stationed outside or something like. I don't know. MPs, maybe. I have no idea. Zero idea. It's Army. Whatever. You guys let me know. You guys got some military peeps out there. But yeah, whatever the case is, obviously, if he's saying stuff against his current commander-in-chief, yeah, you just instant, done. Speaking of which, Navy did submit their report to the Pentagon regarding Senator Mark Kelly's possible punishment over the illegal orders video. I kind of think they're going to bust him. I don't know. I hope. They should. They definitely should. They can't the others, but they could. I don't know if they can do. I don't know. This would be another question I'd have for military people. Throw this out there. Some of you guys might know. Put it in the comments if you don't mind. But like, if you are former military, can they just do some sort of like poo-poo on you sort of thing? Is there some sort of weird like demarcation they can make on your record? Or once you're out if you're not getting a pension? Because that's what it's all about, folks. If you're getting a pension or going to, or you're essentially retired, then yeah, you still answer to the United States Marine Military Code or whatever that is, right? But if you're just out and you didn't actually get vested or whatever, then so all the other 5 were that. This dude wasn't. He was also an astronaut, which is interesting. Oklahoma Black Lives Matter leader was charged with embezzling $3.15 million. Kash Patel was, he busted her basically, or her, I think it is. Yeah, Sherry. She was taking the money that they were donated for, like if you got put in jail to pay the bond fees, and any bond money that came back, she was just putting in her own personal account. She made a butt ton of money, bought a house. Needless to say, she got caught because that's illegal. Carolyn Levitt dropping the mic on CNN. Caitlin Collins talking about all this, everything they keep trying to blame on Trump because they refuse to report it during Biden. And again, it's very effective because a lot of people are like, well, prices aren't down yet. And I've even heard people on our side of the fence say that. And it's like, you really, anyway. It takes a little longer and you'll see all the metrics are moving in the right direction. It's just the way life works. It's slow. You can't speed it up. And I don't think it would survive fast, frankly. I think it would come apart at the seams. I think we're barely holding on as it is. But needless to say, she calls out the biz snatch from CNN.
Mixed signals in terms of what that looks like. But on
inflation is down from where it was. As measured by the overall CPI, it has slowed to an average 2.5% pace. This is down from what the president inherited. The president inherited 2.9% in January. Today it's at about 2.5%. So we're trending in the right direction with more to come. And I would remind you, when President Trump left office in his first term, inflation was 1.7%. And the previous administration jacked it up to a record high 9%. So again, in 10 months, the president has clawed us out of this hole. He's kept it low at 2.5%, and we believe that number is going to continue to decline, especially as energy and oil prices continue to decline as well.
It wasn't high under Biden. They're just saying it's not.
Well, nobody reported on it being high under Biden. My predecessor was standing at this podium, but now you want to ask me a lot of questions about it, which I'm happy to answer. But I will just add, there's a lot more scrutiny on this issue from this press corps than there was. Well, and the previous administration said that too. My predecessor stood up at this podium and she said inflation doesn't exist. She said the border was secure. And people like you just took her at her word. And those were two utter lies. Everything I'm telling you is the truth backed by real factual data. And you just don't want to report on it because you want to push untrue narratives about the president.
People like you, Caitlin Collins, retard. Who's the tard? She's retarded. Yeah, I know, inappropriate. People don't like that. Makes it more fun to say. U.S. secret planning 5 Nation Club. Not the G7 anymore. It's going to be like the Cool People 5. The Super 5. Jackson 5. I don't know what they're going to call it. It'll be something cool. But there's only going to be 5 countries. And it's actually a pretty cool group. And this is, I think, the multipolar world. It wasn't 3, it was 5, I think. Japan, India, China, Russia, and us. That's it. Nobody else is invited. Europe, you see that big giant finger? Sit on that, you bastards. I wanted to say what I wanted to say. The G5? No. The Super 5. The Superfly 5. Maybe Snoop Dogg can come up with something cool for us to come up with that. Blue state governors refusing to implement Trump's no tax on tips. Literally. New York, Illinois, and Colorado. Probably 3 of the worst states when it comes to budgets. California is when you make a lot of money. So, yeah, probably not as bad. I think New York had a lot of people, and so tax revenues and stuff like that, I think, made them tons of money. But since the economy's gone to shit, they've had a harder time, it seems. Needless to say, these guys are not willing to give up tax on tips for state wages. Now, it would not surprise me if California does that. But I would hope Newsom would see the smart move there and just deal with the fact that we're already bankrupt and this is just one more place you're losing money and we're totally not going to make budget. You guys are going to have to do some more fancy footwork, which is probably illegal if we ever audit California's books. It's going to be fun over the next number of years. I don't know how long it takes, but man, it's going to be fun. Trump's trade policies drive sharp narrowing of the U.S. trade deficit. Yeah, he's dropped the trade deficit a lot. Again, all the metrics are moving in the right direction. Again, we still got to get rid of the Fed. So that direction is moving slowly, intentionally, I think. We got to blame somebody. So I don't know. We'll see. Beijing prepares its own $70 billion CHIPS Act. Oh, no. China's going to make chips, and they're going to do it better. It's so funny. I see a lot of that in Zero Hedge these days. There's a lot of pro-China stuff. We're doing a lot better. In fact, I got Trump talking about it here. He says, this is Truth Social, he said, the Wall Street Journal has another ridiculous story today that China is dominating us and the world on the production of electricity having to do with AI. They're wrong, as usual. Every AI plant being built in the United States is building its own electric generating facilities. The approvals are being given carefully, but very quickly, a matter of weeks. Any excess electricity being produced is going to our electric grid, which is being strengthened and expanded for other purposes than AI, like never before. In other words, AI has far more electricity than they will need because they are building the facilities that produce it themselves. We are leading the world in AI by far because of a gentleman named Donald J. Trump. Now, again, there's been a lot of stories talking about how these AIs, we're going to data facilities, we're going to take the power from the grid. They're going to make you all turn your electricity off, man. You can't have it no more. But that's not how it's playing out, is it? No. When Trump actually says and puts a deal together, it's actually going to benefit we the people, not them the company. And he doesn't. He doesn't favor companies. He even did it with Elon Musk. He cut out that stupid thing for the electric cars. And by the way, I've got like 2 or 3 friends. I was actually thinking about getting one. Because I got solar, right? It made sense, kind of, sort of. I got 2, 3 friends that have had them and got rid of them. And they're like, no, these things suck, dude. They suck. And I was like, what? I mean, it's just the distance and stuff. He's like, yeah, you get the recharge fatigue. He's like, you worry about it. Like, I can't go further than 20 miles from my house, 30 miles from my house, 100, 50 miles, whatever. Because I got to be able to come home. You got to be able to round trip. And then it's heavy when you charge. It takes it a while, and I mean, unless you quick charge, which is not good for the battery. So whatever. Trump's doing it right. That's what it comes down to. Trump also signs an executive order for AI telling states to butt the F out, which is, I think, good. I don't know. Some disagree with me, but I still think states shouldn't be able to interfere. They're just going to ruin it.
Good picture. Pulitzer Prize. This is going to be a Pulitzer Prize picture. Let's give him the Pulitzer Prize. He said that. Do you like this guy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I do. Everybody likes Albert, right?
Yeah.
No auto pen necessary. That's a whole big deal, isn't it? Well, what's that all about? Okay.
Interesting on the sides this time, right?
Who
So
am I
again, he
giving
doesn't
this
do
pen
it.
to
I don't know. There seems to be a line
Who am I
there.
giving it to?
How about cereal?
Do you guys remember back in the day where they almost never had anything, it seemed, on the page when Biden, you could actually kind of see it, but this the resolution's not the best on this, and maybe for that reason specifically. But yeah, it was pretty funny how there was a lot of times where I swear to God, it seemed like Biden was actually, you can see words, that Biden was actually signing empty pages, like blank, just, and they're like, don't worry, we'll get it later. Okay. So I don't even think he actually signed some of the documents. Think about that for a second. Because Biden was kind of retarded, and they're probably afraid he wasn't going to be able to sign it properly anyway. I don't know. Or he'd get cookie on it. I don't know. This guy seems like he was really tarded in many ways. The Fed. So weird thing going on. So Fed's not doing QE, qualitative easing, qualitative any of that stuff, but they're doing exactly the same thing that they were doing when they were doing that. They're just not calling it that anymore, but they're doing the exact same thing. Maybe because they have to, maybe not. This is probably why gold and silver are going up so much, is people, and they've been saying it, are dumping the dollar. Trump, I think, has managed to help finagle it to where it's not happening all at once, because that would crush our dollar, which is what they wanted to do, and is getting them to do it kind of, in pieces. Japan just dropped a bunch of our debt, got rid of it, and the Fed basically had to buy it back. Fed had to buy this debt back that they created, that we sold through treasury auctions to other countries. They bought it, gave us money so we could keep funding our government, and then we owe them. Now they just called in that debt, so our debt goes up. We just ate that. Asset purchases begin. So this is, again, $8.2 billion in bills Friday. A lot of that could have very easily been some of the Japan stuff, and that might not seem like a lot of money, but actually Japan's inflation's very bad. It's like $1 to like something like 200, whatever their thing is. It's not the yen, is it? Yeah, the yen? I think so. So stock market's down. The interest rates didn't go up or down as much as I think a lot of people wanted. The numbers really aren't that great right now. And that dump of bonds was painful. Well, silver was up a bunch this morning. Now it's down a bunch. It's so funny. Yeah, it was up something. And then, it went nice little crashy crash. Again, that's going to change. I'm not worried. What's going on with crypto? Crypto's doing better today. Bitcoin's, nope. Okay, yeah, so everything took a big shit today. All at the same time, too. all at the same time. Isn't that interesting? What was that, just before 12? Let's look at silver really quick. Just before 12. Yeah. So what happened with Dow right at the same time? So everything took a crap. So that's obviously when some of this news came out, because I'm my couple hours after. Yeah, that's what happened. So this bad news came out and pissed everyone off. Silver's probably going to recoup a lot of this. Gold is still up, though. Look at that. Gold's still like, yeah. So gold came down a little, but it was already having a fantastic day. Now, again, it does seem like somebody was trying to orchestrate a market move. It's rebounding in every way, shape, and form. All over them are. Silver's even, like, everything's got the same shape to it. You guys seeing that? I mean, I'm just telling you. Hope you guys are seeing it. Here's NASDAQ. Exactly same shape. Exactly same shape. I mean, yeah. Folks, I'm telling you, do you trust that system? I don't. If you got a 401k or an IRA, get as much of that money moved out as you can. Tax-free, penalty-free. It's the trick. You go sideways with it. You don't get to hold it yet. You can down the road. There's not like a time waiting. It's up to you, but it's actually payout. But get as much of it over as you can before you even think about that. It's actual physical metals, literally physical metals. You get a sticker on it with your name. It's yours. Put into a trust. There's literally a spot for your metal. And that's where it just sits. And I don't know if they ever come in and dust it or something, but whatever, it's there. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get as much of it over, tax-free, penalty-free, up to 10% free silver. That's the kicker. That's the beautiful kicker, too, by the way. Silver has a multiplier baked in. Gold is a bobber floating on the ocean. It'll guarantee your buying power of whatever it is right now. You got $100,000, whatever you could buy with $100,000, you're going to take that buying power with you. You'll still be able to buy that thing with the amount of gold you have. Say you get all gold, just for an example. Silver's different. Silver's actually got a multiplier baked in. There's a bunch of paper contracts that are BS against it. There's also a lot of manufacturing that uses it, and that's ramping up. And there's a huge shortage of silver because of that. There's actually a large order that was placed that there's not nearly enough silver mined to feed it. So how are they going to do it? They might buy some of the silver that's lying around, melt that down, which you can do, but causes the prices to spike. There's a big growth. Overall, probably within a year or two, we're going to see silver at around 200. That's just what a lot of people that can kind of see further down the road, it seems, than I can, standing on someone else's shoulders. So we're sitting at 60 or whatever right now. What was it? 62. Still at 62, even down $2.50. So we're still at 62. It's going to go up another $140. That's the multiplier. Gold will probably go up half relative percentage-wise. It's still going to go up and again, hold your buying power no matter what. It's all based off inflation. If the price of gold goes up, that means the value of the dollar has gone down. That's why it was going up so much. And that's why they needed something to happen so they could push everything down, because everything was going up because of inflation, not because of anything else. The dollar took a big shit today, and they needed to hide that. This is not a good time to stay in the stock market. You're based off an inflationary Federal Reserve note, and you're also sitting on a stock market that's very fragile, and many say many bubbles baked into one. Stuff's going down. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Goldco can help you get out of this tax-free, penalty-free, up to 10% free silver, which is huge. And yeah, you're probably even going to get this little Ronald Reagan coin if you can actually call within 20 minutes. It's up to you. But you put in your 4 digits. So yes, send me my information. You don't have to do anything more than that. I think the coin's attached to you actually making a phone call and all that good stuff. It's a half ounce. It's 0.999% pure. It's Ronald Reagan on the front. It's pretty cool. It's worth $31 just in weight. And then collector's value, it's more than that. Pretty cool. Again, Goldco wants to talk to you. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. You have a 401k or an IRA? Tax-free, penalty-free. Get out of that nonsense and some goodies on the way out. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that system while you can, folks, because it's going to get ugly. Unquestionably. FDA intends to put its most serious warning on COVID vaccines, sources say, but it's CNN, so it's probably a leak. Black box warning. That's bad. Black box is the most serious type of warning, which highlights major risks such as serious side effects and restrictions. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's going to happen the way it should. Pharma cartel was really what this whole thing, this vaccine orthodoxy is crumbling. Cancel culture against what we're trying to do right now. Long story short, because this story kind of gets into how a doctor lost his position at a hospital because he was on the CDC board. And again, this is that same thing that we've seen what they were doing during COVID. You guys remember that, right? Anybody that talked about ivermectin, same thing happened to them. Same thing happened to them. They'd ruin you. They'd take your channel down. You weren't allowed to say it at all because the pharma cartel still exists, has heavy reach, and is able to shut things down. And I would assume, to a large extent, still have huge control over channels and stuff like that. We'll see how serious these certain stories feel, but they're going to fight this tooth and nail, and they have very deep pockets in some of the greatest lawyers on the planet. Secretary of War, they're changing what used to be called PSYOP. They changed it from PSYOP to a thing called MISO, which is one of my favorite soups. They changed it from PSYOP, which stood for Psychological Operations. Kind of cool, just short and sweet. And then instead, they changed it to Military Information Support Operations, MISO, because MISO horny. Well, they changed it back to PSYOP. And Pete Hegseth's like, because that's what it is. They didn't like it. They changed it to MISO because PSYOP had a negative connotation to it. And Pete's basically like, that's what it does. We're not the Department of Defense. We're the Department of War. And this is freaking PSYOP, baby. I love the guy. I like Pete. He is way better than I thought he was going to be. I'm able to say that. I actually probably feel that way about almost all of the administration. I don't know if there's anyone that doesn't. I don't think there's anyone that jumps out that doesn't fall into that. So you guys might disagree, but I certainly think so. Why did I share this? Oops, that's not helping. Trump did order the seizure, and they're talking about where it's at, and that they're going to be probably keeping the oil. There's a process. She talks about some of the legalities of it because Trump didn't know the other day. So those answers are forthcoming. Here it is.
The vessel has been seized, as you know, and the Department of Justice did that in conjunction with the Coast Guard and the Department of War. The vessel is currently undergoing a forfeiture process right now. The United States currently has a full investigative team on the ground on the vessel, and individuals on board the vessel are being interviewed, and any relevant evidence is being seized. With respect to the oil, that's a different issue. As you know, Peter, the vessel will go to a U.S. port, and the United States does intend to seize the oil. However, there is a legal process for the seizure of that oil, and that legal process will be followed.
I don't think I've ever been turned on more by the word vessel in my life. I don't know what it was. It suddenly became my man part, but it didn't at first. At first, it was just that, and then she said it 2 more times, and, well, dadgummit, crazy thoughts went through my head. I'm sorry, Caroline. Sorry, that was wrong. Criminalizing Bible verses, talking about being wrong. Canada, that's what they're doing now. They literally are taking away a freedom that used to exist if you were talking about religious-y stuff. They're like, all right, you're allowed to say kind of crazy things. That's cool. But not anymore. Not anymore. They're getting rid of this. Liberal bloc amendments to C9 will criminalize sections of the Bible, Quran, or Torah, and other sacred texts. Conservatives will oppose the latest liberal assault on freedom of expression and religion. And there's a sign here if you're Canadian and you want to try to not do that. Pierre Polivet. Polivet? Polivet. Whatever. Polivet. Does he have that cool accent? I have to hear it now.
Texts that say the same thing, and somehow say that this is.
That's Mark Miller. On Mark Miller, I can say that all day long. That's not. Whatever the fudge. I know someone's going to send it to me and they're going to type it out. But here's the thing. Oh yeah, we're pissed off at Canada. I got to point that out first. Yeah, this is where Canada trying to take away our freedom of speech. I don't live here in Canada. I say that, but I had to play this. You guys remember Blame Canada? It was one of my South Park the movie. It was actually when I thought South Park was super cool, and I love the soundtrack. And this one has far less cussing. I'm not going to play the whole thing, and YouTube's going to hate it, but whatever. If you guys haven't seen South Park the movie, it was 1999. Things were different back then.
We must stop dirty language from getting to our children's ears. We must go fight the source of it. But what is the source? Oh, that's easy. Times have changed. Our kids are getting worse. They won't obey their parents. They just want to fart and curse. Should we blame the government or blame society?
Or should we blame the images on TV?
No, blame Canada. Blame Canada. For their beady little eyes and flapping heads of full of lies. Blame Canada. Full assault!
Anyway, yeah, I mean, I'd love to play the whole movie, but and it's funny the Canadians. I always remember their heads are like Pac-Man. That's always Canadian, so that's how you knew they were Canadian. South Park was brutal to Canadian. Back when it was fun. Here we are today. Pentagon officials order Europe to take over NATO within 2 years. That's why this 2027 thing's a big deal. And all of a sudden they're like, we're going to start building, tanks and shit. Because apparently the United States doesn't want to just keep protecting us all on their own and they could pay for it. Yeah, Trump's literally, I think, backing out of NATO in 2027. I don't know if that's when they're supposed to re-sign the contract, but we are not going to be the primary player is what we're finding out. Pentagon officials order Europe. You're taking over NATO, period. Brussels bureaucrats push for expanded legal migration routes into Europe to help those who dream of a better life. So while they're taking on larger financial responsibilities, the European Union, now they're going to try to make it even worse for their people that are actual taxpayers. They're destroying the Western cultures. It said on the Georgia Guidestones. Or was it, what was the other thing? What was the guy that started Satan all? What was it? There's a guy that had he told specifically how the wars would end, and then the Iran-Israel war would have, it's spelled out in there. And most of the population, 95%, were going to be killed. I feel like the Guidestones was part of that too, but anyway, whatever. China's drone mothership capable of swarm attacks takes flight. Just so I kind of want to point out, one, it does it, sure, and it can supposedly drop 100 kamikaze drones, which would allow something the ability to swarm. I'm sure we'd love to see how that actually works. But we're also coming a long way towards anti-drone technology and abilities to be able to sort of EMP in a kind of controlled way. And again, a lot of these things can be shielded in interesting ways, but there's a lot of different frequencies and stuff. So even if you hit certain things on the outside, frequencies can cause problems. Again, I'm sure our technology against drones is significant. Now, do we have enough of these machines all over the place? No, that I would say is the big problem for us, is making stuff quickly. But this drone mothership, again, this is more fear porn. It is what it is. It's not very big. They show it flying. It's not impressive. And again, there's this weird push for, this thing, if we were really worried about it and they took 4 of these off or something, right? 5 of them, 6 of them, and we just probably mess with them like some sort of weird energy weapon. We just, I think, are careful about how we show our stuff off. They can't be able to figure it out. Hell, we supposedly teleported a plane. There might be some truth to that. That one trips me out. That one's a little harder to, that might be true. So they got a mothership. And by the way, when it goes back to the crazy crap we were talking about back during the initial, when they were happening over on the East Coast. You guys remember that, right? And everybody's like, it's China. They got a big ship out there, and it's a mothership, and they're just launching them in. Dude, China's not, they were flying balloons over us, for Christ's sake, people. Balloons. They couldn't do that with satellites? Come on. Come on. I'm sure every once in a while we fly a plane close to places just so we can get maybe specific stuff, but come on, man. Really? Balloons? It's like Russians don't even do that, I don't think. So again, this is not impressive. They're not impressive. That don't impress me much. That's what that don't do. Zelensky claims referendum on territorial concessions is going to be necessary. He's like, look, if the Ukrainians are going to have to lose territory, we can have them vote on it, right? And yeah, they're probably going to control that vote. And that'll be fun because they're not going to vote to give up land, probably. Maybe to stop the war, though. I mean, again, is it going to be a legitimate vote? Do we have anything to say about that? Be very interesting to see. But he says the Russians want the whole of Donbass. We don't accept that. I believe that the Ukrainian people will answer this question, whether in the form of elections or a referendum. The Ukrainian people must have a say. In the war they're losing? You sure? And again, there's probably concessions where Russia's like, no, but we'll give you some of Zaporozhye or what, I mean, whatever. Italy's Meloni pushes Zelensky. He's like, bro, you're gonna kind of have to take some painful stuff here, bud. You guys are losing. You've lost and are losing and continuing to lose. And this idea that you can somehow be demanding and put your foot down and it's like, I will not move anywhere. If you move past this line, I will take a step backwards. Then, yeah, take that. That's all they can do right now. They did a counterattack, I guess, towards Russia. Sent a bunch of kamikaze drones. Russia supposedly was able to down a number of them. So this is... It's being portrayed very well, I think, right now, and I think we've played a part in this, but it's being portrayed very well that the Russians are essentially winning this. They're a bigger country. They would win this. They should win this. And the fact that Europe hasn't been making weapons at all, and the United States really hasn't been either, but we've just been sacrificing all of our weapons to make us weak so China could take us over. Didn't go according to plans. Russia's helped us see that. Thank you, Russia, for many things, frankly. But eventually we'll be friends again. Ukraine's working on a dirty bomb plot, Moscow says. They've been talking about this for a long time. We figured they're going to do this. Apparently they've been smuggling in a lot of radioactive materials. So it does seem at this point they are putting together something, literally, physically putting something together. And will likely try to get this out someplace. And this is meant to keep the peace plan from happening. So likely would happen soon. And again, they're going to try to blame it on Russia. So far, everything they've done has failed when they've tried to do false flags. And they've tried Poland with the missiles a few times. Overflights of drones that were actually going in that were going to blow something up. They've done a number of weird things that have been very false flag-esque and have not succeeded. And we are talking about it before it happens, so it's going to be very difficult for this to occur and nobody to sort of piece it together. I guess if it's in English, I don't know if I think he's got the...
And one more point, we are ready to work with President Trump in any format. And if President Trump is speaking more about elections in Ukraine, I want to say this very openly. We can try to hold elections. Ukraine is not hiding from democracy, but to make elections possible, there must be a security component, and America can help with this the most. If there is a need for elections now, there must be a ceasefire at least during election process and during voting, and this is something that must be discussed. And honestly, we think here in Ukraine that America should speak to the Russian side about this. Let's see what's next. And so I ask you to support Ukraine in this and other important matters. Thank you again, Kira.
I mean, that's kind of a bullshit thing. What's also funny is how far away are elections? So you're talking about, what, 90 days out, 60 days out? 30? No. 60 maybe? 90 probably? Right? So what, we're supposed to worry about a ceasefire that's going to happen in 90 days? That's what's going to just slow down our discussion over whether or not there's elections? Why don't you say there's going to be elections and be like, hey, can you guys not shoot at us on election day? And Russia, I'd bet Russia's willing to, will not shoot, but if you guys try to move forward, troops will shoot, right? Like, if you try to advance in the interim during that day, yeah, we'll shoot the hell out of you. But if not, and you guys stay put and respect the voting thing, we'll respect your voting thing, and we won't blow you up that day. I bet Russia would be, up for a talk, a little chit-chat. Apparently, a bunch of teens are trolling the Prime Minister of Australia. He just put in this new little law that said under 16s can't use most social media that they'd want to use. Any of the stuff they'd want to use, Snapchat and I don't know, all the stupid stuff, Instagram and all the stupid stuff. Not the stuff we typically use, the stuff they like. And so they're all trolling them on that same platform and basically saying, look, haha, we're still on here. They didn't keep us off. And it's probably because it just asked, are you over 16? And they're just like, yeah. And so it lets them on. Now, this is all about pushing the digital ID is what people are saying. Now, that I agree with. So I think this was meant to look stupid because then they're going to be like, oh, well, now we need to make sure everybody's got a digital ID. But the thing is most kids don't have IDs, do they? You don't really get an ID here anyways until you start driving. That's when you get your first ID for the most part. Otherwise, you got a school ID. You have an ID, sir? Well, I got my junior high ID, sir. That generally is not a legal document, but it's the best you got. You signed it as a child, which means nothing. So, yeah, I don't know. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Yeah, he looks Albanese. He's got that Albanese kind of flair about him. By the way, did you guys notice in the last episode when Keir Starmer was on there, he did not look like he had a thumb up his butt. No, his eyes were relaxed. So I don't know what that is. I might be right. It might be in public he has to do something strange. Maybe. A huge portion of elite university students are claiming disabilities. That's just pretty awesome. Everybody's got ADHD nowadays and anxiety, depression. They probably need friggin' support animals and everything under the sun. Again, not trying to rip on anybody that uses that as an excuse to get through life. But I love animals, by the way. I think animals are awesome. But I think a dog can stay outside for a second while you go inside a restaurant where people might be allergic. And then you can go back out and get your dog when you finally get your drink or whatever. But yeah, insisting that you must be able to bring your animal everywhere with you. This is my support horse. Clippy, cloppy, clippy, It's like, come on, people. Whatever. 20% disabled. I mean, I'm yelling at a lot about potentially some people in my audience. Sorry. I'm not trying to piss you off. It's cool. You need it. That's cool. Just understand other people might be allergic. That's all I'm saying. Just be a little understanding of other people too, and people will be understanding of you. It's a cross-pollinating thing. It's awesome. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Look at that bud. Any of you guys that have ever partaken, you're like, oh, damn. Hope that tastes like it looks. Anywho, yeah, supposedly Trump's poised to actually change the federal marijuana law. It's going to make it a class 3. Class 3, I think it is. Class 1 is what it is right now, which is like the equivalent of like heroin. It's like, really? For this? Wow, that doesn't seem fair at all. And I think that's it. Yeah, it's cool. So a lot happened. I got my music show today, guys. It is inspired by Fish, which was weird because I honestly had a hard time finding songs. A lot of you Fish fans, I don't know if you got my email address. Maybe you can throw me your top 5 Fish songs. Curious if the 2 I chose are even on there. I found them very melodic, very cool. I like the way these guys harmonize. I actually like them. But just some of the music I couldn't get to it, couldn't get into it. I couldn't feel it like I can. Like I got Grateful Dead, I'm totally there. I got Dave Matthews Band, absolutely love them, but totally there. Steely Dan, amazing music, not quite the same, but musician-wise, I think they were both really good. But yeah, Fish, I had two songs, and I really, really, really like the first one that's on the thumbnail. Really like that one. I think the bouncing room. That is a cool ass song. I don't know what it is. I really, really like that song. And then I grabbed another one that's pretty cool for a lot of reasons. Gets a little psychedelic towards the end. All said, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I love you guys. We are going to continue to rock this fight, but I am very, very pleasantly surprised how friggin' awesome we're doing. I literally lose sleep sometimes because I'm worried about. Maybe not you guys. I don't know. I think you guys are like rocking it, but man, I worry about some of the others that are a little more in immediate reach, if you will. And God, it hurts sometimes, but they're seeing it too. We are rippling. We are doing it, and it's group effort. Where we go one, We go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.